If you don't follow Hindsight on YouTube, I suggest that you do. He is so like chill, calm. He gives you perspective. He gives you something to really think about. And I love watching him in the morning while I'm drinking my coffee because he is just everything you need sometimes. So right now I'm rewatching a video that I literally just finished because everything he said, I felt like I need to hear this again. Like I wrote some notes down too. He mentions vulnerability, right? When we put ourselves in a position to be vulnerable and we get hurt, we in turn say, okay, we're not doing this again, so we're not going to be vulnerable ever again because that hurt too much, so I'm not going to put myself in the position to be hurt again. And so we move into meaningless relationships because it's easier to be in a meaningless relationship because I don't have to be vulnerable with this person because they don't have the depth to be able to hold that. You know what I mean? So that was very impactful to hear that because it's like, wow, have I put myself in positions to be in proximity with people that are meaningless, or I don't want to say that the person is meaningless, but that they're at a time in their life that they're not going deep, right? So because they're not going deep, I don't have to go deep and I don't have to be vulnerable. So it's easier to be like this. But I can even say for myself, it's going to get to a point in your healing that when you're surrounded around individuals that haven't reached that level yet, you're going to yearn for people that have done that work, that inner healing, that inner work, and can have super, super, super deep conversations. Like, I can honestly say at this point in my life, I've studied so much. I've been a part of so many communities. Like, my upbringing, and I'm going to be vulnerable, with you guys because I feel like a lot of women, a lot of mothers go through things, and because we're so busy, we don't have time to explore ourselves because the world is coming at us in so many different angles that we don't got time for that. Healing is the last thing that we're worried about. Until we find ourselves continuously falling into situations that, we think back and it's like, why does this keep happening? Like, why do I keep falling in this trap of just why? You know what I mean? So as a mother, and this is why I'm building a community, you may think that it's more because of working out and detoxing and things like that, but those are just little pieces of it. But at the end of the day, the bigger picture is this. Especially if you were a teen mother, you have a lot of childhood trauma. You have a lot of things that happened to you that led you to choose a route because you just didn't know better. And you continue to choose that route or continue to see the same avatar fall back into your life because that's what you're attracting. And you're attracting these people and you don't really notice that you're doing it. And it's because you don't know how to weed it out when you first see it. You don't identify those people. If anything, it's so familiar in a different way. And sometimes at first they may come off a little different. So you're like, oh, okay, this is a little different. But at the end of the day, you saw certain red flags. You saw certain things in the beginning that you chose to ignore. For the most part, if you are a single teenage mother or a single mother at all, I don't know, you yearn for love that you didn't receive at some point. And you can't identify it, therefore you can't fix it. So my mission and my passion in life really is to get you to realize that no one, not your mother, not your father, not your brother, not your sister, not any man or woman, it's not just single mothers. Well, a lot of us go through this, but no one can fill the void of love. No one can fill the void of validation but yourself. You have to do that inner work. There's no way around it. Otherwise, you're going to continue choosing the wrong people. Otherwise, you're going to continue putting on your baggage onto somebody else for them to try to fix. And at first, or for a few years, that may be okay, but it's going to come to a point where it's not going to be okay and you got to do something about it. Do yourself the favor and do the work in the beginning. Or if you're watching this now, do it now. You know, it's going to cause a lot of pain and hurt, but do it now. You will become a better parent. You will become a better friend. And ultimately, aligning with God, you will be the best partner and you will create, you will just be so fruitful and you will multiply in a way that you were really, really created to be when you align with the right people, because your mindset has changed in a way where you put yourself first. Your mindset has been put in a place where you know who's ready to be in your presence and you know who's not ready yet. And it doesn't mean dispose of the people who aren't ready yet, but it just means we can't connect right now because we're not on the same frequency. And that's so important. The frequency is important. One last thought that Hindsight said, and I wrote down, that was super, super impactful. He said, people who cheat do not align with God. You know what I mean? And this is deep because it's true. And especially as women or people that accept infidelity and forgive, you need to realize that if your partner was able to be unfaithful or whatever the case may be, you need to realize that that's a them thing. It's something within them that they're not connecting with the God within them. Because infidelity or scheming in that sense, it's powerful, because if I'm in a place where I can't see myself doing that because God is watching. So you need to realize that God is an important factor, and not to push religion or anything like that. But we're all spiritual beings, and at some point we're all gonna connect with our spirituality. I believe at some point we're all gonna connect with our spirituality, and without God, there's nothing, you know what I mean? Like, without God, there's no peace. Without God, there's no serenity. It's so many internal things that without God, we can't necessarily fulfill 100%. So if you're a person who is able to move in that way, that just goes to show the woman in your life or the man in your life that you're not really ready, and you have a lot of work to do within yourself to be able to connect with in a relationship that you can be fruitful and multiply. And I'm done because I gotta keep. But I hope this was impactful for you, and I hope you watched this far.